Hello, everybody. Hey, it's DJ. I'm doing another gardening class today. Um, this one's an important class because it marks the end of a season. So we've moved into fall. So as you can see behind me, a lot of the fruits of my labor and everything, I have eaten them, grown them, and then eaten them. Um, and now it's time though to start for the next season. And so what I have to do is, take out the plants that help me so much and get ready for the new crop of plants that's going to come in. And it's kind of a wonderful thing. I love fall, but everything starts to kind of decay. And then what you do is later on you have something new that you can prop up. But what I need to do is make sure that before the rainy season hits that I have these plants removed and set up and ready for the next season. And there's other things you can plant during that season as well, and I might do that. I might do another gardening class. I may not, and let it rest and just really let the soil kind of soak in all of the new life for the new plants that are going to be put in there. So I have my gloves, but the first thing I need to do is there's a few tomatoes on my tomato plants that I still need to harvest. So I'm going to harvest those first because I want to save as much as I can. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, and I'll take you through it. It's called an ori-ori. It's a Japanese gardening tool that actually kind of cuts around the plant and makes it a lot easier to excavate or take out the plant. So, we're going to be using that, or I'm going to be using that and kind of show you how it works. But you want to be very careful. It's a very sharp tool. So you want your gloves. You want to make sure that you're protected. I don't usually pick like any sort of fruit or vegetable with gloves on. I do them with my hand. That way I can really feel more if it's overripe or if it's underripe. Right now they've got to be all ripe, but again, if it's overripe, I don't really want it because it's already spoiled, as we've gone over in other cooking classes and things like that. So right now, I'll be back in a second, but I'll talk you through it. I'm going to have to talk loud because I'm going to be over there, but I've got everything propped up. And again, as you see, with this, we built a structure so that birds couldn't get in, because the last couple of years we planted tomatoes and the birds would come in and eat them, and they would take most of our crop. And so we built this, which is nice, but at the same time, it's an interesting structure, and so I've got to be very careful. But it's propped up, and everything should be safe. So I'm gonna go and get those tomatoes, and I'll show you kind of what they look like at the end of a season. Okay, so I'm over here now. This one here looks really nice. It's nice and yellow. Everything seems good inside. So this is a keeper for sure. Now these ones, I can see that they're already, well, I don't know. Yeah, this one's spoiled. So it was a nice one, and I should have harvested it earlier, but we had so many that, sometimes you don't. So this one will go, and I have a green waste bin right here. That will go right in the green waste. We have another one here. Also definitely overripe and spoiled. Green waste bin. Now I've got some green ones. Here's the thing, is these ones have not developed fully yet, but you can use them for certain cooking classes. So that's a keeper. Another green one, keeper. I mean, fried green tomatoes, or tomatoes, as I like to say. And most of these are much smaller, and they get smaller as the year progresses. Only because, as the plant doesn't have as much moisture, and it starts to decay, and these are all good. Nice and firm. Wonderful tomatoes. Oh, this one's very close. I'm going to keep it because I don't like to waste food. But, as the plant decays, the fruit itself doesn't grow as large. We had some really large tomatoes. Closer to this one. Yeah, and this one's nice and perfect, nice and red. But, they yield different kinds. And we've got one more here. I'm going to take that out. And there we go. We have yielded a nice set of tomatoes, if you can see them. Gold and green and yellow. Wonderful. And there's something to be done with each of them. But now comes the part where I'm putting my gloves on, where we want to use a little bit of reverence, because it is time to say goodbye to the plants that were in, basically, it's not really a greenhouse, but that were in there. And, use my ori, but to set up for the next season. So I'm going to go back over there, and I'm going to show you how to use this. And it has measurements on it, which are very useful if you look at it. Knowing how far down you need to dig for certain plants, and everything has a different length that you actually can use this for and say, this is as far down as you go. Now for these ones, I'm using it more of as a trowel, just to kind of dig it out and cut the roots, because the season's over. So here we go. And another good thing about this is, so a lot of these we propped up with rope, and I'm going to need to cut through it. And the ori is very adept at that. So I can cut through a lot of this, which all of this will go in the garbage. This is not recyclable at all. So we can get rid of it now. And say thank you to the plant. So I'm going to set this aside because that is not green waste. Again, this is why we go over our different classes. Is to know what is green waste, what is garbage, and we don't want to put the wrong things in the wrong bins. And rope is definitely not recyclable. I mean, it's not. And then I have some other things here that I think I'm going to take out just to get a nice new fresh start. I have, these are green onions here that I'm probably going to take out. I've got some kale over there that I'm going to take out. And like I said, I just want a clean start. But first we got to get rid of all this rope. And be very careful because this is a very sharp tool. And what you want to do usually is just kind of cut slowly. You cut too fast and there's a chance you can cut yourself. Well, so far, yeah, we're doing really good. I think this is our last piece of rope. And you always want to cut away from yourself. You never want to cut towards yourself because then you cut yourself. Alright, so that looks good. So I'm going to leave my ori right here. And now I've got a couple more. Oh, I've got one more. Green tomat. So now we got to have these cages come out. And they're in there. So cage one is out. I'm going to set this over to the side. Okay, I got one more. It's a nice one. When you take your cages out, and I'll show you with this one, what you want to do is once it's out, because these plants have really grown into it. Once it's out, You want to set it upside down, like this, because the base of it, oh, looks like we got some more rope. Put that up. But the base of it is a lot easier to set up. If I try to set it on the prongs at the other end, there's a good chance it'll fall over, and we don't want it to fall over. So you take it and you set it down just like this, and that's how you do it. Right down on top, and it's nice and sturdy. So that goes in there. You couldn't see that because that was embarrassing. But we all make mistakes. Alright, so now the plants are ready to come out. So I'm going to take my Ori Ori. I'm going to find the base of the plant, and what I want to do is I want to dig around. And really make sure that everything is nice and ready to go. And the Ori Ori cuts through everything really nicely. And right out it comes. So there's one down. Then we go over to the next one. Another thing that I learned this planting season is you don't want to plant too many things in. This is not the biggest space for everything. So what happens is that not everything grows as evenly as possible. So there we go. Next plant out. And again, this can all happen within, if you look at the length of the video, so this only took maybe like 20 minutes. That's all it'll take for you to create and take apart a gardening space. I'm going to take out these green onions because they are definitely overgrown. They're not going to taste as well anymore. Like I said, the Ori Ori will take these right out. They still smell great though. They're right in the green waste. Come over here, I'm going to take out the kale. And kale is wonderful. You just get some olive oil and some garlic and mix it in with this kale. Oh, and that's a good root structure. It is one of the best root, that's a root. It's one of the best root vegetables you can find. It's amazing. Like I said, we're starting all over. Oh, got some more of these. We're going to cut down and get rid of those. And look at that root. It's a good root. We're going to go through and just take out each and every one. And the Ori Ori will help you with this. Kind of cut down and in and through and do it section by section. And as you do it, you are helping to create the next crop that you're going to grow. And this is again, like I said, so once things are gone, you get to start to decide what you're going to plant next. And to me as a gardener, that's kind of exciting. I think it's more exciting for Melanie, because she is much better at this than I am. But at the same time, I eat all of these foods. And I like to watch the process. So we're going to go through, like I said, just go section by section. And everybody has their different way of doing things. The point is to get it done. Yeah, and wow, you can really start to see a difference. Whew. I'm going to need a shower after this. Okay, so we've got a nice big chunk of green, and all this goes in the green waste bin. Not the recycling bin, not the garbage. And they don't take soil, so you want to get as much soil off as possible. But there's some soil that's going to be on there, and nobody can really get all of it. They say there's no such thing as perfection. The only thing is you try to strive for it. And we're good pretty much with that side. Like I said, just go section by section. Alright. Then we got our very last section. And this is the happy time. This is the I did my work. Time to celebrate by relaxing and planning. Because I always plan after that. What to plant next. So the majority of it is going. I've got ourselves a nice clean space. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go sort through. I'm going to take out some of the stragglers. Come on, straggler. Come on, straggler. A lot of them have grown into this netting, which plants want to live in. They want to grow, and they want to grow everywhere. So I'll take out the stragglers. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, that's a deep root. So when there's roots and you can feel it, that's what the Ori-Ori is for. Helps cut down and through. Alright. So we got the majority. It's nice. Now what I'm going to do is smooth this out. Smooth it all out. And then take some more of the stragglers as I go. But I don't want to leave any holes or things like that, because when I plant, I just want it to be ready to go. That's the whole, well, it's a large point of the planting. Make sure that once you're ready to go, you just get to be excited and be like, oh, I'm planting this next plant. And I'm going to have these huge tomatoes. I'm going to have these wonderful onions. I'm going to have these giant potatoes, whatever it is that you want to plant. Alright, so we are done with this. Now what I need to do is, luckily this thing's on wheels, I'm going to roll this over into the corner so I can create more space for other potted plants that I might want to plant in the future. This thing is heavy. So again, back safety. Try to make sure your back is straight. Be careful of everything else that's there. I should have put this back in. My bad. Well, I will fix that later. But right now, focus on the project at hand. 1, 2. 3. And I gotta tie this back in to get it back to a working space. There we go. Alright. Now I've got everything in there. Things are cleaned out. We got a nice, I can't really see it. Well, we got a nice new gardening area here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to water that down. Just to get everything feeling nice. Then the next things we plant will be ready to go, and then it's going to go through a winter season. But and the watering is important because I want to make sure that the soil itself stays soft. It's easier to plant when things are soft. It is much harder to plant when things are dry. And you have to dig a lot more, there's a lot more that goes into it. But when things are soft, that's the time to start really get going. After a nice rain and then a sunny day, then you got yourself a good day to actually get things done. To really plant some stuff that's going to be happy, take out stuff that isn't happy anymore, and you will be in a good way. Alright, so I'm almost done here. But this has been our class. Take my gloves off so I don't get the computer wet. And I always implore you, ask any questions you have. Always. Because I'm here to answer them. And I want you to have wonderful things like this. And I don't know. The world where you make your own stuff is an important world. Anyway, peace. I'll talk to you hopefully soon. Bye.